All right, let's talk FSU, Florida State Seminoles football. This is a program led by Coach Norvell, of course, that's had one heck of an offseason. They've made a lot of news. They've dominated the headlines in a lot of ways, talking about the 2024 and 2025 class. But now's the time of year where the really smart programs, the savvy programs, the long-term thinking programs like Florida State obviously is now's the time where they spend resources finding hidden gems under the radar talent before the other massive programs discover them. And that's exactly what Florida State has done here, getting a kid from the southern part of Florida closer to the Miami-Dade, Broward County regions. Let's pull up this report and then we'll talk about it more on the other side. This is courtesy of Knowles 24/7. Florida State has landed a commitment from Homestead, Florida, it's close to Miami, South Dade 3-star safety Tadarius Hughes. He picked the Noles over other finalists Louisville and Syracuse. Hughes visited FSU most recently for their elite prospect camp in early June. He was a top performer at that camp, and that experience is what ultimately made him feel like FSU is where he wanted to call home. The other half of this, of course, is that FSU is the far superior program that's going out recruiting Hughes at this point. I think this is Florida State getting a potential recruiting steal early in the game. Miles, I'm curious what your thoughts are on this. But first, Florida State fans, in the comment section below, we're talking safeties, we're talking DBs. We're going to discount corners here for a little bit because there's been so many great Florida State corners. But talking strictly safeties, who's the best? Who's the best safety in Florida State history? There's, I don't know, maybe 20 names that could be close to the top of the list, but only pick one. Give us your opinion, the best Florida State Seminole safety, and put them in the comment section below. But Miles, what are your thoughts on this latest move here for FSU?
Yeah, Nick, I think this is big for FSU, and I think this shows the larger plan that FSU has had because this elite camp, they've gotten a lot of great prospects coming here. You know, we saw a lot of 2025 guys come. They're able to evaluate them. They were able to convert some of those guys as well. But getting these 2026 guys in early, and especially guys that are probably a little bit lower ranked, like, for instance, Hughes, a 3-star guy out of the state of Florida. Florida is just inundated with so many talented players. You invite these guys who maybe, they have some flashes. You hear some, inklings about them. Get them over to your camp. See if they're good or not. And then recruit them early. Get them before they blow up. Because how many times this offseason have we done stories about this former 3-star as now a 4-star? This former 4-star is now being graded as a 5-star by many reports. Getting in early is the key to getting top-tier talent. And what Coach Norvell did here is just brilliant. He brings these guys in. They sees they're talented. Shows them, hey, I brought you to my elite camp. I thought you were an elite-level player. I want you to be on this team. I'm going to offer you. Just remember, I scouted you early. I was there before any of the other big programs there. He's fighting Louisville and Syracuse. I mean, Louisville and Syracuse, respectable programs, but these aren't the powerhouses of the world. They're not even on the same level as a team like FSU. Coach Norvell's able to say, I was the guy to get in here and recruit you before anybody else did. And I think that speaks volumes a lot, especially to guys who are kind of like underrated, under the radar type of players. They really respect when someone sees their potential early, especially if it's a team like FSU, because there's really not much more that you would want from a program than what you're going to get from FSU. So I think this is great news for Coach Norvell. I want to see what else comes from this elite camp because there's a lot of great prospects here, and I think we're going to start seeing some of these guys start to commit to FSU.
There's another factor that goes into finding these steals and getting them early, which of course you always want to find guys that are really 5-star, 4-star talents when they're only 3 stars, which I think FSU probably did here with Hughes. But there's the other element too, is that there are guys who are 4 and 5-star guys currently, who are legitimately 4 and 5-star guys that everybody is competing with. And every program, despite all the talks of massive budgets and massive coaching staff, has finite resources. You only have so many coaches, you only have so many hours in the day, right? You can only divide so many recruits among so many coaches to spend a lot of time for these recruits, to get your sales pitch, to get them come to visit the campus, all that stuff. There's only a finite number of resources. And if you have to spend all of your time just fighting everybody, if a Florida State has to spend all of its time fighting a Texas, fighting an Alabama, fighting a Clemson, fighting a Georgia all the time, fighting an Ohio State, a Michigan, whatever, Texas A&M, LSU, for prospects, all of the time, you're going to use up a lot of your resources because that's a hard battle to constantly fight. But if you can find under the radar guys, if you can find guys that aren't getting that attention, you get to spend a little bit of resources to get a lot of return that frees up a lot more of your resources to then go after these 4 and 5 star guys. That's the advantage of finding these steals, as I like to call them, early in the process. That allows you to get good players on your commitment list early, and then allows you to go full out, really aggressive for the current 4 and 5 star guys, the way other programs may not be able to because they're too busy diverting their resources. Recruiting isn't just sales. Recruiting isn't just social media. It's management. It's a delegation game. It's an allocation of resources battle. The smart programs, the long-term successful programs understand that, and Norvell has proven that time and time again at Florida State, and this latest news is just further proof of that.